She oozed an intoxicating mix of elegance, sexiness, and sass. Selena Quintanilla Perez was primed to capture the hearts of the world.
Never dreamed of, never in my wildest dreams I thought it would come this far.
She was going to be huge, bigger than huge.
She was adored by millions, but as improbable as Selena's ascension to the pop music throne may have been, what ended that dream was even more improbable.
The victim is Selena Quintanilla, and she's in undetermined condition over at the hospital at this time.
On the morning of March 31st, 1995, the woman who claimed to be Selena's most devoted fan, Yolanda Saldivar, shot her in the back.
Ain't it funny how it is?
Millions lost an icon, a father, his daughter.
You know, I think about that every day.
Everything I did for you. Now there's nothing left for me to do.
A husband buried the love of his life.
If I wanted to, I could torture myself and go lock myself in my room and just bring back all these memories, you know. But I have to keep going.
The way I love you.
A handful say they saw trouble brewing with Yolanda Saldivar. They saw a dark side.
She started getting crazy.
But she was evil.
But no one could foresee what happened.
I don't really think that Selena even knew what this lady was capable until she heard that last shot.
There's never been a question of who, but why.
You understand the loss of her to her fans.
It's tremendous. And not only to them, but to me.
But they want to know why you killed her.
Tonight, the life and career of Selena Quintanilla Perez, and an exclusive investigation into the events leading to her murder, the story behind the music. To both those who knew her music and those who heard it for the first time after her death, the murder of Selena Quintanilla Perez was incomprehensible. It wasn't just that a star on the verge of greatness was so callously killed. It was who did the killing and why.
Did you love her as a friend?
I loved her as a daughter.
She's Yolanda Saldivar, and to this day, you'll not hear her utter a single negative word about Selena Quintanilla Perez.
She was real young. She had so much energy, so much talent, so much to give. When she was in that stage, she belonged to her fans, 100%.
She sounds more like a woman mourning the loss of a relative than the killer herself. The fan who worked herself inside Selena's tight inner circle.
We have videos at the house where you can show her there eating with us and everything, man.
She had everybody's confidence.
Selena's husband, Chris Perez, says Yolanda was welcome into the inner circle because Selena herself was so open and trusting.
She didn't think anybody was out to hurt her or that anybody would be lying to her. And so I think that kind of gave her the freedom to be so open and laughing all the time and getting along with everybody.
But according to business associates, the closer Yolanda got, the more she betrayed Selena's trust.
Well, whatever this lady wanted, she got. She would manipulate the circumstances so that she'd get it.
She started getting crazy. You know, she started getting obsessed and depressed and all that.
But what others could see, Selena evidently could not.
Things were spiraling so bad, and no one could put an end to it because I think that Selena refused to see that much evil in someone.
Then Selena's father, Abraham Quintanilla, stepped in.
I found some documents that I showed to you that proved that she was stealing money from the fan club.
Yolanda has never been charged with such a crime. But in March 1995, less than a month after facing Abraham's accusations, and on the verge of being fired by Selena, Yolanda purchased the gun and shot to death the woman she claims to have loved like a daughter.
It was a shock up to the day that she shot Selena, you know what I mean? It wasn't like it happened and I was thinking to myself, I knew it, you know. I was like, I can't believe it, you know. It was a shock to everybody.
Why didn't she kill me? Why did she kill, quote unquote, you know, her friend? As she said that Selena was her friend. You know, she wants to, she's mad. Why don't you come out here and shoot me? Why shoot her? You know? It just doesn't make any sense.
Selena's death has never made sense. In search of some insight and understanding, Behind the Music traveled inside the women's prison at Gatesville, Texas, where Yolanda Saldivar is serving a life sentence for the murder of Selena Quintanilla Perez.
You understand the loss of her to her fans.
It's tremendous. And not only to them, but to me.
But they want to know why you killed her.
I won't discuss that.
Why not?
Because the truth is not out.
So tell it.
Not in a court of law.
You've had your day in court. Why didn't you tell it then?
I was not given an opportunity to defend myself. I was represented, which is different.
Yolanda, at that time, your life depended on it. If there is this information that if it doesn't exonerate you, at least gives context as to why Selena Quintanilla is dead, why would you not have demanded that that be presented in court to spare your life?
If I knew then what I know now, you can rest assured that my trial wouldn't have gone the way it is, or that it was. I can assure you that.
During the course of a 2-hour interview, Yolanda was continually evasive, bolstering the public image that she's clever, cunning, and manipulative. While her conviction is on appeal, Yolanda's reluctance to answer certain questions is understandable. But then, as the interview continues, she jumps at an opportunity to supposedly tell all.
This is a letter that your family has said you received here in prison. Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Behind the Music was given 2 letters by the Saldivar family prior to this interview. They are allegedly from a man named Lorenzo Salinas, who Yolanda says she and Selena met while doing business in Mexico in early '95. The Texas Department of Corrections confirms the letters were mailed from outside the prison. But during an exhaustive 7-month investigation, Behind the Music was unable to find Lorenzo Salinas or confirm his existence.
He tells me exactly what I've been saying all along.
Which is what?
That he feels his conscience is killing him because he knows the truth, and he knows that he feels that, or he thinks that I have things that will eventually say it all. And
do you?
Yes.
Yolanda claims that 2 weeks prior to the murder, she discovered videotapes damaging to Selena's career, and that she had a diary of Selena's that corroborated information on the tapes. In his purported letter, Lorenzo Salinas claims he was hired to beat up Yolanda, to retrieve the tapes and diary as part of a plot to extort Selena. Yolanda claims she was attacked, but managed to get away.
You know where those tapes are now.
Exactly.
You know where that diary is now.
I know where they're at.
Yolanda contends they remain where she stashed them, in a safe deposit box in Monterrey, Mexico.
Why is that information significant to the death of Selena Quintanilla?
Because that is many of the things that were discussed that day. It was not about the embezzlement. It was not about no obsessed fan or being fired. It had nothing to do with that.
What Yolanda won't explain is why, if she was protecting Selena, she instead killed her.
Yolanda's state of mind is an issue in this case.
San Antonio attorney Ramiro Estrada has been retained by the Saldivar family. He says while the information in Mexico may not exonerate Yolanda, it will somehow shed light on her state of mind in the days leading up to the murder. Estrada hopes the alleged evidence will open the door for a second trial and a reduced sentence.
I think Yolanda knows that she needs this information to be found.
Yolanda empowered Estrada to retrieve the supposed evidence, and Behind the Music accompanied him to Monterrey, Mexico.
Isn't there a chance, maybe even a pretty good chance, that Yolanda's lying to us about this evidence?
Well, I think anything's possible, but it would serve no purpose. It would not help her to be perpetrating a lie.
Yolanda and the Saldivar family directed Estrada to more than a half-dozen different bank locations.
I don't see what good it would do for her to be sending us on a wild goose chase. I mean, it's certainly not going to help her in the trial.
But a wild goose chase it proved to be. There was no safe deposit box, no tape, no diary, no evidence.
You're disappointed that this evidence hasn't been found?
Sure. Sure I am.
Following the trip, Estrada revealed he intends to remove himself from Yolanda's case. Whether the extortion plot, videotapes, and diary are fact or Yolanda's fiction remains unknown and may never be known, as Yolanda reveals in one smug answer.
I guess I'll take it to my grave.
Coming up, Yolanda's obsession with Selena.
It was neurotic. It was neurotic and it was strange. Fanatical.
But first, the birth of a dream.
I never thought that it would come this far. Never dreamed, never in my wildest dreams I thought it would come this far.
When Behind the Music continues. Selena Quintanilla Perez was the hottest star that few knew, outside of her Latin base primarily on either side of the Rio Grande. But there she was simply Selena, adored, emulated, the reigning queen of Tejano.
Tejano music is a combination, or should I say a fusion of different types of music all rolled into one package. It's country music, it's jazz, it has roots of German polka, it also has Mexican music in it.
Selena Quintanilla was born in the South Texas oil patch town of Lake Jackson on August 16, 1971, the third and last child of Marcella and Abraham, a longtime singer for a South Texas band called the Dinos. Struggling to raise a young family on a musician's wage, Abraham quit singing for a more secure job at a chemical plant.
I wasn't happy at the plant, you know. Every day I would fantasize about the music. I could see myself on stage. I could hear the music in my head.
And then he'd sing his music at home following a hard day's work.
So one day, Selena came and sat next to me, and she started singing along. And I was really, really surprised at the quality of her voice.
That's when Dad started showing her some of the earlier songs, which were "I'm in the mood for love." I guess they were all his favorites, you know, and they called it "Puppy Love" and, you know, all them songs.
Encouraged by his 6-year-old daughter's voice, Abraham patched together a mom-and-pop garage band. Selena's older brother A.B. on bass and older sister Suzette on drums. For the kids, it didn't start as a labor of love.
They want to go play ball outside, or, you know, the swings or whatever, and it was every time that we rehearsed with them, after 10, 15 minutes, it was crying time. You know, they didn't want to do it anymore. They had no interest whatsoever.
Abraham quit his job at the chemical plant and opened a restaurant offering Mexican food and family entertainment by the newly formed Selena y los Dinos. But when Texas Oil went bust in 1981, so did the restaurant. The family moved to Corpus Christi, and the kids' band was suddenly the family business.
We lost everything, and we already had been playing, but not professionally, and that's when Dad said, you know, we're going to do this.
I talked to my wife. I said, look, you know, the only other thing that I know is music. That's all I've ever done before. I want to try it.
It was kind of hard at first because of the fact I knew that it was a means of putting food on the table for the whole family. You know, we did it to make a living.
At the beginning, when they were very young, I guess in a sense you could say that, yeah, I forced them. Because kids at that age can't make up their mind what they want, you know.
For a half-dozen years, Selena y los Dinos bounced around the remote hardscrabble towns of South Texas, playing barbecues, weddings, and clubs, making just enough to get by.
It was really hard, man. Very, very hard. Hard times. Food stamps, you name it, we were there.
But by the mid-'80s, the little girl out front was maturing into an attractive teenager with a versatile voice, and Selena y los Dinos began opening for a popular local group, La Mafia, and recording its own albums for a regional label. Still singing primarily in English, Abraham began teaching the kids Spanish and the Tex-Mex music called Tejano.
That was another battle. They didn't, none of my kids could speak Spanish, and they didn't like Tejano music. They like rock and roll.
We grew up on Boston Journey, the Eagles, I mean, Michael Jackson, the Jacksons, Janet. I mean, we had all these English influences, and that was our first love.
But Abraham prevailed. They were going Tejano, and it played out to be a brilliant decision.
Female vocalist and entertainer of the year nominee, Selena Quintanilla.
The year was 1987, and 15-year-old Selena was named the Female Vocalist of the Year at the Tejano Music Awards.
The people of Texas have voted Selena Quintanilla.
And she flashed the smile and sense of humor that would become her trademark.
And most of all, I'd like to say thank you to Grupo Los Dinos, because without them, I don't think I'd be anybody. And when I win, they win. And when they lose, I don't know them.
But she wouldn't lose ever again, sweeping the Tejano Music Awards for the next 9 years. Most importantly, in 1989, with record executive Jose Bahar in the audience.
First time I saw Selena performing, I saw somebody who was vibrant, who was energetic, who was full of life.
And Bahar immediately approached Abraham, offering a record deal.
I remember I went back, and Selena was over there, what they want, you know.
We had just opened up EMI Latin. We were looking for the quote-unquote Gloria Estefan for EMI Latin. And I just said, this is too good to be true. It's that needle in the haystack.
And I told them, and everybody started high-fiving. How's that word? High-five?
She had the ability to interpret songs at such a young age with such feeling, with such emotion, with that teardrop in that vocal cord.
After signing with EMI, Selena took a conservative, traditional regional sound and spiced it with her own flair. In 1990, Selena's popularity was spreading throughout the U.S., Mexico, and Central America. While young girls were emulating her style and look, the guys were falling in love. But their collective heart was broken when Selena disclosed she had a new last name. She married her guitarist Chris Perez in April 1992.
And I'd like to thank my husband. I love you. Wait a minute. If I was married to one of y'all, you wouldn't be booing, right?
Chris was content and confident in his role.
It wasn't like I was the kind of guy that wanted to be out there and be like, yeah, I'm her husband and we're married, you know, and always be walking around like that.
Selena was a singer of the people. She never denied an autograph, was always willing to lend her celebrity to causes aimed at keeping kids off drugs and in school. She'd eat at local pizza and burger joints, shop at the mall. And when it came to concerts, Selena mingled easily before and during. It was at a San Antonio concert in 1991 that a local 31-year-old nurse spotted Selena for the first time.
I just looked at her and I said, wow, what a talent. And I said, that's really Selena? I mean, I didn't even know her.
Coming up on Behind the Music, Selena hits the big time.
The Grammy goes to Live, Selena.
Then friends watch. Yolanda becomes dangerously obsessive.
Selena would come to visit, and then she'd leave and she goes, oh, I miss her. I go, she just left.
And Behind the Music continues.
Introducing Doritos 3Ds. A whole new shape that begs to be eaten. In very loud ways.
Ay, Chihuahua.
Doritos 3D snacks. Same loud taste, new loud shape.
How badly do you want to see the greatest show on earth?
Kids suck!
No matter who you are.
We're going to Detroit!
No matter where.
By the early 90s, Selena was on top of the Latin music world. Her elegant ballad with Salvador and Alvaro Torres soared to the top of Billboard's Hot Latin Tracks, her first of 6 #1 hits. In San Antonio, Yolanda Saldivar, a 31-year-old nurse who frankly didn't like Tejano music until she saw Selena perform, started a fan club.
You're in your early 30s, you have a career as a nurse. Fan clubs are usually for people who are a lot younger. What was compelling you to do it?
Going through my college years, I had no social life. I had none because I devoted myself through my university, my career, my license. Now it was time for me to have fun.
So tell me about your first meeting.
I was like meeting Whitney Houston.
At first, they don't see each other often, essentially only when Selena plays San Antonio.
I was their gopher, so to speak, in San Antonio.
But you loved it.
Yes.
It was a touch of celebrity.
Well, actually,
in San Antonio, Texas.
Well, not only that, but it was because my friends. It was Suzette and it was Selena. I did it for them.
But you had to have enjoyed the fact that your friends were becoming such celebrities.
Well, that too.
At one time, my whole family liked Yolanda. You know, we would invite her to come eat at our house. You know, we'd have a get-togethers and we'd invite her.
It was that our friendship had grown from being just a fan, celebrity type to this personal type of relationship.
By 1994, Selena was soaring to new heights, and success never tasted sweeter than when she won a Grammy.
The Grammy goes to Live, Selena.
So you can imagine when they announced my name, I was like freaking out. I cried in the back. It was a great feeling.
Poised to strike while the fire is hot, Bahar, Abraham, and A.B. get Selena into the studio to work on the so-called crossover album. The English language album designed to catapult Selena into becoming an international pop star.
Recording, like, say, Dreaming of You, that was all I heard in the house, you know? And that was her favorite song. When she did I Could Fall in Love, the same thing, you know?
Because it's actually going to be like starting all over again. Nobody knows me in the sense in the English market. So, but I'm ready for the work. Gotta try.
But while she's starting to record the English album in 1994, Selena's also acting on another dream to be a fashion designer.
She loved to sing, but you know, I don't think it was her idea to put a group together and to go on the road at the age of 9. But she loved it, you know, and designing clothes and all that was her idea. You know, it was something that she could do and that she wanted to get better at.
And in mid-94, Selena hooked up with a young Texas designer, Martin Gomez.
She never had the training. She had the desire, which is more important than anything. And you know what? She had the taste level. She really knew fashion.
But by now, Selena was being pulled in two directions: her business, fashion, and the family business, music. And the woman who started Selena's fan club 3 years earlier was about to take on a significant new role.
In many respects, Selena had her family, but she didn't necessarily have friends that were always traveling with the band, and Yolanda provided that friendship and companionship.
Joe Nick Petoskey covered Yolanda Saldivar's trial, interviewed most of the principals, and has written an unauthorized biography of Selena.
When Selena made the decision to open up the boutiques, she needed someone to run them. And there was Yolanda, her trusted friend who would never let her down, who was always there for her.
And I'm the one that suggested, well, what about that girl that runs the fan club in San Antonio? She looks pretty, you know, like a nice person. And that's how Yolanda came into the picture.
It was then that she hired me in '94.
Even though you had no business experience?
Even though I had no business experience, no.
She didn't know anything about retail, and that's basically, come on, you need Retail 101 to manage a retail space.
And I think that that's where things started unraveling.
Both Martin Gomez and Yolanda agree that from the very beginning they are at each other's throat, not just about business, but over access to Selena. Gomez contends the stage was being set for Selena to be deceived and controlled by an obsessive Yolanda.
She's made it very clear to me that in order for me to speak to her, to speak to Selena, I have to go by her.
He started seeing that his contact with Selena was becoming less and less.
Martin says that the reason his time was less and less is because you were becoming obsessed with Selena.
That's not true.
Yolanda derived her popularity with people because of her association with Selena. And if anyone else was going to get closer to her to Selena, or get her ear, that was a threat to Yolanda. And by virtue of being the creator of these designs, Martin Gomez was a threat.
By now, Gomez says Yolanda was trying to wrest control of Selena's life.
It was neurotic. It was neurotic and it was strange. Fanatical. Selena would come to visit, and then she'd leave and she goes, "Oh, I miss her." I go, "She just left."
She didn't want to be bothered. Martin can understand that.
So you're assuming a bigger role.
Definitely.
Could that role be construed as becoming obsessed?
I don't know where people are getting this, that I'm obsessed with Selena. It was a duty that she expected me to do. And I had to do it.
I was starting to recognize her just basically being controlling and trying to manipulate Selena. I was starting to, I was starting to identify that, and more than anything, I was going to Abraham with the information.
See, you got to understand that Martin and Yolanda are like two old women bickering at each other.
While that bickering must certainly be wearing on Selena, Abraham stays clear of it and had no problem with Yolanda until the beginning of 1995.
It wasn't until January of '95 that we started, or I started seeing that other side of her.
The controlling side, and Abraham believes a lying and cheating side.
Is that the beginning of the end of your relationship with Abraham?
That becomes the fury of it all.
That fury is about to spill over, and innocently squeezed in the middle is Selena. She loved her father and trusted her friend. Those two are battling and headed on a collision course.
And that's when the chain of events began that led to her death.
Coming up on Behind the Music, a new friend enters the picture who urges Selena to rid herself of Yolanda.
Did you say that to Selena? Did you say that this woman is dangerous and could hurt you?
Sí, yo le dije que era una persona peligrosa. Sí, yo le dije que era una persona peligrosa. Sí.
Then, danger becomes tragedy.
Did you point the gun? Did you pull the trigger?
When Behind the Music continues. After a half-dozen years planning, by '95, Selena is finally in the studio recording the long-anticipated English album.
Just seeing the smile on her face when she did get to track those English songs, and she did get to hear them back. I mean, that was exciting. Finally, it was like, oh man, finally we're gonna do it.
Musically, Selena was on top of the world. She had won a Grammy in '94, was nominated for another in '95, had captured every conceivable Tejano Music Award, and had signed endorsement deals for 3 major products. And the popularity Selena enjoyed in the Latin music community was now about to spill over into English pop.
One reason I'm really appreciative of everything that's going on around me, because of the fact I never expected it. And I want to keep that attitude.
It's January of '95, and Selena is striding into her prime, having no way of knowing that she's about to embark on the 3 most chaotic months of her life. First, the ongoing bickering between her right-hand person, Yolanda Saldivar, and her designer, Martin Gomez, prompts Gomez to leave Selena's fashion business. Martin describes Yolanda as obsessive, cunning, and manipulative.
She had manipulated my mind so bad, and manipulated everybody around her, that she knew exactly what she was doing. And you know what? She came out, in Selena's eyes, perfect.
It's still January of '95, and Selena is determined to move on with plans to establish her fashion business in Monterrey, Mexico.
I'm a workaholic. I have 3 different businesses here in the States, and I just opened another one in Mexico.
All the bets were being put on Monterrey because not only was there going to be a retail outlet, but there was going to be a line of clothes manufactured in Mexico and sold throughout Mexico.
But Selena was venturing into Monterrey against the advice and counsel of her father.
Mexico, it's another world. My advice to Selena was, build up your business here in Texas. You know, if it grows here, then you think about other places, you know. But, you know, young people have different plans.
Yolanda, who up to now was embraced by the Quintanilla family, is wedging herself in between Abraham and Selena.
Her father would always tell her, the music's going to give you everything. You don't need that. I'm telling her, I'm here to help you.
Still in January of '95, Selena and Yolanda begin taking regular trips to Monterey, where they find a new designer, Sandra Gallona.
Selena was afraid to travel from Corpus by herself to Monterey. So it was like a dama de compañía.
Companion?
It was like that.
Did Yolanda always come to Monterey with Selena?
All the time.
Selena needed a local investor, someone with good business sense, and she turned to an acquaintance, plastic surgeon Ricardo Martinez.
Y ella lo que me dijo es que si ella podía confiar conmigo y parecía que yo era de persona de confianza para que yo pudiera asesorarla.
Whether there was the acumen to make the business work as a fashion line to be sold in Mexico, I think Dr. Martinez is the one that held the key to that.
So Ricardo Martinez is helping develop the business, and Sandra Gallona is working on the designs.
Where does that leave Yolanda?
Yolanda was just here like supervising.
Did she need to be?
We didn't need her, but I believe that Selena trusts her very much.
But by now, Abraham doesn't trust Yolanda very much. In early '95, he finds documents that he believes proves Yolanda is embezzling money from Selena.
At this time, we hadn't accused her of stealing from Selena's business because we didn't know it at that time. But we did have proof that she was stealing from the fan club.
But Selena trusts her friend, loves her father, and wants everyone to get along. Yolanda, though, is stirring the pot, bringing it to a boil.
Yolanda was telling me every day that Abraham was getting scared about Selena letting the singing business to get into the fashion business.
How can they sit there and say that I was worried about that? They're crazy. You think, let me ask you something. Do you think that Selena is dumb enough to quit the music business, which is her main business of making money, over a little business that's just getting started? Give me a break, please.
When she started coming to Monterey, in the beginning, he didn't know nothing about it. I mean, she was like flying in the morning, come to make everything, and then went back in the afternoon.
My daughter lived next door to me. For them to say that I never knew that Selena made trips, oh, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
It's early March, and the pot is about to boil over. Abraham calls a meeting at his Corpus Christi office, where in front of Selena, he confronts Yolanda with the embezzlement charge, and the meeting becomes heated.
I am disputing what he's alleging that it's happening. I'm disputing that. And showing Selena, in front of Selena, that he's lying. She knows it. And he gets infuriated.
And her answers were ridiculous. And as we parted, I told her, Yolanda, I'm going to go see the police about this. You know, if you want to call that a threat, I guess you can call it a threat.
The clock begins to tick. And it's, we know you've been embezzling from Selena, and maybe embezzling from the fan club. Things are amiss there. You're no longer welcome on these premises. We're going to get you. You're going to be faced with legal action. But she's not fired yet.
Less than a week later, Yolanda buys a handgun.
Why did you buy that gun?
Abraham continually threatened me physically, telling me that he was going to erase me from the face of this earth.
Abraham flatly denies there were any threats.
If she was at gatherings of my family and all of that, and I used to see Yolanda, and I used to hug her, hey, Yolanda, what's going on? Why would she fear me?
Until you confront her with the embezzlement allegations.
Well, I think she feared because she knew that she was caught.
Even so, Yolanda is not fired. Travel records and eyewitness accounts obtained by Behind the Music document that 1 week later, Yolanda and Selena return to this mountain resort in Monterey, where, according to the manager, Selena meets with Dr. Martinez.
Que según lo que un comentario que me hizo una ocasión, Selena, es de que le había dicho Yolanda, que si Selena la despedía, que ella no iba a poder estar sin estar cerca de ella. O sea, ella no podía estar, si Selena la sacaba de su vida, ella no iba a poder soportarlo. Entonces, que es una reacción de una persona, de esta mujer psicótica. Que o vas a estar conmigo o no vas a estar.
Like Abraham, Martinez says he too now urged Selena to fire Yolanda.
Yo creo que alguien tenía que decirle que era una mujer peligrosa. Pero iba a ser algún momento a alguien que se lo dijera. Fue su padre y a lo mejor fui yo.
It's now the last week of March '95, and Yolanda returns to Monterey without Selena, and it appears she's unraveling.
Oh, very, very depressed. It was, she couldn't even talk. She was just like crying and depressed and sad.
Yolanda couldn't bear breaking up that relationship, being disassociated from Selena.
In the early morning hours of March 31st, 1995, 3 weeks after the confrontation with Abraham, 2 weeks after Yolanda purchased a handgun, 10 days after Dr. Martinez said fire her, Yolanda asked Selena to meet at this Corpus Christi motel room.
What happened?
I won't discuss that.
According to trial testimony, Selena leaves home for the motel just after dawn. Chris is still asleep.
Yolanda tells Selena when Selena comes to the motel, I was raped. They go to the hospital to be checked, to have Yolanda checked out.
But according to police records, doctors at the hospital find no evidence of a rape, and the women return to the motel. Now it appears Selena is witnessing firsthand what Martin Gomez, Ricardo Martinez, and Abraham have been telling her for months.
I think when Selena finally said, you know, they're right. You really are a liar. You really did take that money. And somehow Yolanda justified there was no going back.
Back in room 158 of the Days Inn in Corpus Christi, the women argue.
What was the nature of your discussion with Selena?
I won't discuss that.
Yolanda is the only living being who knows for certain. What is known, Yolanda has the gun.
Did you ever raise the gun up?
I won't discuss that.
Did you point the gun?
I won't discuss that.
Did you pull the trigger?
I won't discuss that.
According to police and court records, Yolanda fires one hollow point bullet. Selena is hit in the back, severing a major artery.
I know she was terrified because she ran from the outside of the door of the hotel room to the lobby, and I know she was terrified.
Before collapsing in the motel lobby, Selena managed to name Yolanda as her assailant. It's believed those were Selena's last words.
When I went up and met with the detective, he started describing the lady that shot her. And I said, dang, man, you know, it was just unimaginable.
Police converged on the motel parking lot where they found Yolanda Saldivar sitting in her pickup, holding the gun to her head. The siege continued for 9 hours before Yolanda surrendered.
If she's been caught stealing, hey, go back to your home, find yourself another job, you know. Why do you have to kill that person that supposedly you claim to be your friend, you know? Just doesn't make any sense.
You have vilified Dr. Martinez, Abraham Quintanilla. Why weren't those the people that were attacked? Why your best friend?
There was never an intentional to kill Selena. Never. There was never an intentional to do anything wrong to Abraham either, or Dr. Martinez. My intention was to relieve myself from all of that.
You were going to kill yourself?
Yes.
But why did you end up killing your best friend?
I didn't kill her.
Yolanda didn't testify at her trial, but the defense contended her gun accidentally discharged a single bullet into Selena's back. Selena's public didn't buy it, and neither did the jury. convicting Yolanda of murder and sentencing her to life in prison. Coming up, a family struggles to move forward.
Everything I did for you. Now there's nothing left for me to do.
When Behind the Music continues. On March 31st, 1995, Selena was scheduled to be in the recording studio to continue work on the English album that would catapult her from being a regional star into a megastar. Instead, she responded to a plea for help from Yolanda Saldivar, who then, with a twist of a Shakespearean tragedy, shot Selena to death.
I don't really think that Selena even knew what this lady was capable until she heard that last shot.
Those who knew her say Yolanda Saldivar was calculating, cunning, and manipulative, but no one suspected Yolanda capable of murder.
I don't hate Yolanda. If I had that hate inside of me, I guess it would be hard for me to, to live and go on with my life. I hate what she done.
As for Yolanda's supposed shocking new evidence, Abraham dismisses it as more lies and manipulation from a jailed woman with nothing else to do. The fact Yolanda's attorney was unable to find the evidence would seem to support this.
And I see her in the cell by herself there, thinking about what she done, going over and over in her mind, and somehow I feel a little sorry for her, and I told my wife, is that normal to feel that way, or, or am I going crazy or what? And unfortunately, she doesn't feel that for us.
On April 3rd, 1995, Abraham and Marcela Quintanilla lived every parent's nightmare, burying their child. Clutching a single rose, Chris Perez laid to rest his wife 3 years and a day after they married.
There was a period of time, right after everything, that I had to learn to live again,
Well, I thought I had your heart to keep forever. Ain't it funny how it is, nothing lasts forever. Everything I did for you. Now there's nothing left for me to do.
Chris has learned to live again through his music, forming a new band, the Chris Perez Project. Selena's brother A.B. is a successful producer, and her sister Suzette operates Selena's fashion business. Abraham keeps busy expanding his studios while managing 7 artists, but says it's a struggle to move forward, constantly reminded of what was, what could have been.
She was such a young person, just full of life, and her life was cut short over a senseless, stupid thing. I think about that every day. Every day.